Hi, my name is Devin, and I have decided to put together some videos around microservice development, something I've been spending the last several years of my career doing, and have just become really a huge fan of it. And I've read a lot of books, spent a lot of time implementing microservices, and just felt like having sort of a starter set of videos to get people off the ground running, hopefully with microservice patterns, potentially could help someone out there. In the course of these videos, what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to build a microservice based application. I'll have a few slides here real quick on that. So we're actually going to do all the coding in the videos together. But to start, I figured I should just mention who I am. Again, I'm Devin Michael. You can reach me at dmichael@keystonecode.com. I'm an independent consultant. Fell in love with programming at around age 14. I think that's when we got our Apple IIe. Tried to figure out how to program the thing and just started falling in love with it and knew what I was going to do with the rest of my life at that point. So feel really fortunate about that. The other thing that I just feel really fortunate about is that I've been able to over the last 20 years that I've been in the software development world play a lot of different roles. I think the advantage of that is that I've been able to see software development from a lot of different perspectives, from the early inception days, ideas to requirements forming to actual implementation. So you can look over the list, but I've been able to play a lot of different roles, which I think has helped me understand and appreciate programming a bit more. Um, I'm a big fan of, and you'll see a lot of it, these influences of these throughout the videos. Minus the first one, I always like to include the first one because anybody watching these videos who isn't familiar with Scrum development methodology, even though we're not going to necessarily talk about it or go into detail about it in these videos, um, really recommend it for any sort of development team that you start learning about and implementing, if you're not already, sort of the Scrum development methodology. What will be applicable in the videos here are the next four items, which are domain-driven design, microservices, event-driven architecture, and loose coupling. Those four things really, it's actually the first two, domain-driven design and microservices, lead to, in my opinion, event-driven architecture and loose coupling, which I think are huge benefits in the programming world. And I promise not to make a lot of these videos slide heavy or conversation heavy. But for the first two items, I do want to dive into those. Each will get its own little video, domain-driven design and microservices, which will be the videos that come after this. And then once we get through that sort of foundational information, we'll jump right in and start actually building our microservice application. Patterns that you'll see, and it's not a complete list, and I'll try to call them out as we're using them. Tactical domain-driven design, microservice, clean architecture, unit of work, logical, CQRS, sagas, and outbox pattern. If you're not sure what any of those are, A, I would encourage you to read up more on them, but we'll be touching on each of them, as we encounter them throughout the videos. And then, as I said, we're going to be building an example application, an online shopping application that's going to consist of a catalog, product catalog, an inventory system, order management, account management, payments, shipping, and recommendations. And the very last one, recommendations, I included because I figured it would be fun to try to introduce some AI related topics as well. So we can create like a recommendation engine using some AI techniques. So that's what we're going to be building is an application that is built using microservices that supports this online, that is this online application. On the back end, I'll be using C Sharp and the libraries that I'll be using, I've listed there. It's not a complete list, but it's the big ones. And again, I'll try to mention them as we encounter them, the different libraries and what their purposes are. Feel free to research them ahead of time, but we'll be discussing them as we encounter them. And I think the main thing, two main points I want to just get across here is we will be using a Postgres database, and we'll be using it in a NoSQL document storage approach. So not your traditional relational database. That's a preference. You can certainly build microservices any way you want, and that's the beauty of it. So you don't have to necessarily use a NoSQL solution. That's just something I prefer. And MartinDB is a library in C Sharp that makes using Postgres as a document repository or a NoSQL approach easier, in my opinion. Just adds some really nice features that make the lift a little bit easier. If you're not a C Sharp developer, I still think these videos are highly applicable. The patterns and the practices and the approaches can be applied to any back-end language, in my opinion. So we will build a front-end application as well. It will be a single-page application built in Angular, but again, it's a technology choice and preference on my part. If we have time, we might even build out a mobile app as well, a cross-platform mobile app for a front-end app as well. But we'll see what we get there because I really want to concentrate mostly on the back end and the microservices approach on the back end. So anyway, that's the intro, and can't wait to get started.
Time for a shameless plug for my personal LLC, Keystone Code. I've been doing software development for 20 plus years now, and I've been lucky enough that I've played a lot of the different roles that go into software development, from back-end developer, front-end developer, full-stack developer, team lead, head of engineering, chief technology officer, business analyst, and architect. So if your agency or company has any needs across those different areas, whether it be a need from just understanding what those roles are, or have a need to fill one of those roles, either from a training perspective, a mentor perspective, or an actual hands-on perspective, feel free to reach out. So I can be reached at my email address, dmichael@keystonecode.com, or on the website at keystonecode.com. Thanks.